Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the fifth and final time this evening for the inaugural day of Canada Cup Season 7 Group A. We've got Complexity versus Luccini Gaming. This is a big one because this one decides who makes it into the upper bracket and who makes it into, the lower bracket. So only time will tell. We do have we did have a stand-in last game, but looks like they're ready to rock and roll. So
no, Hotskin woke up.
That's good.
He was sleeping in his chair, apparently.
Oh, good. So, yeah, I'm Zyori. He's Mott, and we've got Lurkaderp on stats again. They had Keizu in as a stand-in for Hanskin, and then, they failed to load because it looks like he woke up and is ready to play, as Mott just said. So
that is not a bad standard to have.
Yeah, no, that's good. You know, get him in. Much better to play with the full team than have a stand-in, even if it is somebody like Keizu.
That guy has done so much work for No Diggity that it's actually insane. So
yeah.
Hanskin, though, probably would like to play with their actual player, even if he is a little tired. I think they'll be fine. Yeah. They had a rough game against Evernova.
Right now, actually. You're right. It's 4:45 CET. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's brutal.
It's not like they woke up early for this match either. They've been doing this since 3-4 hours ago, 1 a.m. their time. They started.
Yeah, they played in the second match too. So yeah, it's been.
It would actually, the second match started at 6. So it would probably be midnight, like 12:45 or something like that.
Well, all of these bands looking a little bit familiar, Mott. Now that we've seen kind of the mini meta that these teams have gone for in this small, this 5-team group or 4-team group rather. Bounty Hunter has been played in most of the games tonight. He's finally banned out. Complexity is the team that's been banning Riki, and I'm still having trouble gauging how good he is right now. Just getting re-added into captain's mode. But Complexity does not seem interested in playing against him. Luccini take out 2 heroes that Complexity did play earlier. The Tiny as well as, of course, Nature's Prophet there.
There were people that thought he was like 1 or 2 buffs away from being playable in certain positions. So I can understand their hesitance to play against him. I understand the ban to a certain extent. Also, what's unfamiliar is generally something what you don't want to play up against.
10 seconds.
But thank God, I've had a realization over this course of 5 games, Andrew, and that is that I actually despise Bounty Hunter in so many more ways than one.
Yeah, well, have fun in your pubs, Mott, because he is everywhere.
You know what, I'll pick him, but I'll hate myself while doing it. So, no, actually, I couldn't face myself in the mirror if I picked Bounty Hunter. Just kidding. It's impossible.
Yep. Well, Winter Wyvern and Slardar, another first of our best of 1 series tonight. I don't think we've seen any Slardar love yet.
Not that I've seen.
And he's another one that not changed at all this patch.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. I talk about this a lot, but this hero was picked a ton. 2 patches ago, or I can't even remember when he got buffed with his, it was 2 patches ago, I believe, with his buff to his move speed from sprint and how it could phase through. And obviously the true sight being changed was the biggest thing. That's what drove him to not being played competitively anymore. Or whatever it was. I don't know what they changed. I can't, we talked about this before, you and I think our last tournament that we casted.
No, it's the amp damage doesn't, it's like Bounty Hunter. You don't get vision around the person anymore. It just shows you where they are on the map. It's not like they don't turn into a mobile ward like they used to.
But that change alone seems not enough for a hero to just go into obscurity. Like this hero is still very good. He pumps out physical damage. He's got a great initiation potential. He has a bash, so...
I still think the issue with him is just that laning phase, because if he falls behind, his ability to recover and flash farm is pretty bad. I mean, we saw earlier today, like, when the Sword was playing Doom, and he just got shut down, it's like, how do you start to recover? Slardar's kind of like that, but without Devour, right? So if you pick on him early on, he really can become a heavy paperweight.
That seems to be the case for a lot of heroes nowadays. Like, they don't get played because they just have no comeback potential.
Well, and for Slardar, he's so reliant on the Blink Dagger, right? Like, what else is he going to do before he gets it? He's not one of those heroes that could say, okay, you know what? I'm going to get the Force Staff this game. I just don't have the build-up to get Blink. That's not really an option, He needs the Blink Dagger. It's just core on him, so... He is punishable. And up against a Darkseer, this could be a little tough, Mod. If that lane matches up, Darkseer will definitely be able to pressure his farming capabilities.
And it's a Swindle's Darkseer. It's probably...
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's the most comfortable hero he has, but it's definitely up there. Like top 3, I'd say. I mean, we saw his first game with it today, which was a nuts game.
Yeah.
He didn't quite have that same impact on the Nature's Prophet, which... To no fault of his own, I don't think that was his fault, really. That just was a bad game overall in terms of draft, in terms of strategy. They just didn't play like complexity usually plays.
Yep.
And so that's why they're in this predicament. They could have gotten a 2-0 and they could have went to bed earlier had they just taken that one against Evernova. But Evernova turned out to actually have a fantastic puck player.
Yep.
And really good, solid play overall.
Yeah, there was just so much pickoff potential that game. That's really a nightmare to be playing Nature's Prophet, trying to split push and just constantly being jumped on by infest bombs and a bounty hunter. And
5 seconds remaining.
yeah, it was definitely not an easy game for Swindle. Luccini thinking about how they want to finish out or round out this draft, rather. They've got some pretty good lockdown here, but as we've seen, the big team fight ults really seem to make a difference. That's what Complexity have the beginning of. You know, a hero we didn't see at all today that I'm curious about is Gyrocopter. Is he going to get any love this patch, or is he going to be one that's just now kind of forgotten about?
I've seen him once already in this patch, I think, or maybe once or twice.
Because I think he's still viable. I mean, he still has that huge AoE damage.
I'm probably thinking of a pub game. Yeah, he still is. He's good where it counts, which is his damage, from his abilities early game. Wow, you're wow, I don't know, a freaking genie or something. What just happened?
That's weird. Yeah, I didn't even think they were going to pick it here. I was just thinking, yeah, Gyro. Yeah, he sounds like a fun hero. Okay. If anything, I was thinking Complexity would be more likely to pick it, but he really wasn't changed too much. His base damage was reduced by 4, so that does hurt his early laning stage, of course. And then the Ags upgrade, which is probably not even worth talking about. That's the little RNG every 1.4 seconds. Yeah, the sidecar shoots an auto attack.
I think it's also, is it just that, or is it on top of what his old Ags used to be? Because
no,
it's just
I think it's reworked. I think it does that instead of the old thing. I don't think it does anything with call down now.
I don't see how that's remotely good. I don't know. Maybe it is.
It scales. I think it's remote. The only time I think it's good is like super late game. If you're in that I'm defending high ground where 2 lanes are racks down, you've Rapier, Daedalus, Scotty.
You have an Alchemist on your team that can gift it to you.
Yeah, well, definitely in that situation. I think there are just always other items that Gyro is going to want to go for in that scenario anyway. But, those little stray rockets could do some crazy damage if that hits on the support.
If it scales based off your damage, then it's fine.
Yeah, it's just an auto attack.
But there's other items you get that are just better.
Yeah, you still
damage.
It's not like Gyro's problem is, man, if only Flat Cannon had an extra rocket, man. That's really, you're already doing huge AoE damage. At some point, I'd rather ditch the Ags and pick up another Rapier or something. But you're right. Yeah. I think with Alchemist, it could be that little cherry on top that pushes Gyro to the next level in super late game. But even then, those are super weird and niche moments. It seems like a pretty dinky Ags upgrade to me. I agree with you, Mont.
Yeah, this is, I don't expect it to ever be picked up, but, I never expected the Tuscan to get an Aghanim Scepter either, and I've saw a couple of those in my time before it was buffed. That's true. Walrus Kick, I remember what's telling me that Walrus Kick was one of the most useless abilities in the game. That's something I took. Wow, Earthshaker. All right, here we go, baby. Offlane Earthshaker, Rush Aghanim Scepter. Definitely do that. Definitely don't try to go Blink, even though it's probably better. And as a support or offlaner, generally, I don't know.
The Ags build on Earthshaker is strange, and the mobility is undoubtedly good. Just being able to jump around and hop in to initiate, and then be able to blink in, and then hop forward again and lock them out with Fissure. There's all sorts of possibilities that it opens up, but the question is, when do you get it and how do you use it?
Well, if you're ahead, if you have the luxury of having enough money for an Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah,
you get that immediately, but usually you're going to just see Arcane's Blink, probably in any role.
Yeah,
usually it's just better because it's too much money. The build-up's too much, and you could go Brown Boots Ags, and that kind of mitigates some of the cost. But I don't think that.
I think the Blink first is still core, but then it gives you something to move into, and it's sort of like a trumped-up Force Staff,
Right. Well. It's a pretty short cooldown, that Enchant Totem.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. It's like it's like 4 or 5 second cooldown, I believe. It's 5 seconds, so that's a blink every 5 seconds essentially, with a little bit less range, I believe.
Interesting that Complexity grab Axe here.
Reserve time.
Another
this
hero
hero got
we've not
buffed
seen much of.
A ton. I thought the buffs would push this hero into tier 1 competitive play a lot more, but we haven't seen him today.
Counter Helix now doing pure damage.
Good. Yeah. I thought that's insanely good, but I don't know.
I think it's pretty good. The big thing, the other buff to him is Blade Mail getting buffed helps him quite a bit because now it returns damage based on the damage type. So someone pops BKB, but they're doing big physical right click. Blade Mail still sends it back. So I think that really helps Axe for sure.
They did have to scale the damage down because it is pure, but it pretty much is the same damage probably.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more damage,
10
just because of the fact
seconds
that it's pure. Maybe it's not even scaled down enough. I haven't played the hero yet, so I
5
can't tell you,
seconds remaining.
you know, it's really good or it's really bad. It's just that I thought when I read the changes that it'd be good, but maybe I'm making too big of a deal
Reserve
about
time.
pure damage.
10
I don't know. I
seconds
think it's a fine
remaining.
pickup though, but this kind of leaves you to question, okay,
Templar
where's the Darkseer
assassin.
going? Where's the Axe going? The TA is almost
Radiant team
probably
picked.
certainly going mid, so that leaves the Darkseer probably going
Yeah.
off lane. They could do something like a Darkseer solo safe like they did the first game with Swindles, and then have Axe, Tusk, and Lich together in an aggro tri-lane or something. Or they could just do dual lanes as well, like Tusk, Axe, which is probably fine. Lich, Darkseer, but I imagine it's going to be a tri-lane of some sort coming out from Complexity. And then Luccini finish it off with an Ember Spirit, which is another hero that did not get touched in this patch, and a lot of them, and we keep discovering, have not been touched this patch. But Matthew is going to be playing it, and another high skill cap hero to enjoy watching.
We'll see what he can do with this Ember Spirit. Now, TA and the Hurricane Pike is an interesting scenario. I saw that clip that was on Reddit from Wagamama doing it.
Yeah, I saw that live. Yeah.
With the Meld Strike. Yeah, that is pretty disgusting. I wonder if that's going to become more of a popular item on TA or if it's still a little bit too gimmicky. Not something that you would rush. I think still the kind of classic TA builds will hold true, but that is one late game item to keep an eye out for. And again, just giving her that ability to disengage, I think, is something that you can't forget about.
I think it's just that the added range is nice to have too.
Oh yeah, that's
with the
nice to
Dragon
have
Lance.
as an understatement, dude. It's
Yeah,
fucking
I mean,
brilliant.
Like PA, the thing is though, you could Hurricane Pike somebody and kill them, or you could just blink and kill them. So like that's the difference usually. Like, rarely do I see a difference. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel as if Blink's probably better in almost every situation if that's what you're going for. If you could afford a Hurricane Pike, sure, but it's not like you're getting the best stats out of it. I guess 20 agility is pretty damn good now that I think about it, but the attack range obviously being a big part of it too. But I don't know, man. When push comes to shove, do you get Blink? Do you get Hurricane Pike? Do you get both? Doesn't seem.
Yeah. It does seem like overkill to get both Blink and Hurricane Pike, and it seems underwhelming to like just get a like Dragon Lance with like Phase Boot Dragon Lance. I don't know how effective that's going to be. Like you get the Blink Dagger early so you can start to control the game and snowball off of it. So it's hard to pass that up.
Maybe you're passing up like a Desolator if you go for that too, which is huge for a TA also.
I think you still go like Blink Desolator and just pick it up as like a third or fourth item. That was sort of my thought, but I'm pretty curious. Time will tell. It is an interesting item on her, to say the very least.
By the way, for those of you that did not see the last game, could you do me a favor, Andrew? Could you throw up that puck play again so everyone can witness the gospel of Matthew?
Yes. Let's see
While
here.
we have a second, if it's easy for you. I know it's tough to look through the replays.
Nope, I think I got it right here, dude. We watched it like 5 times. It's still fresh in my memory. All right, here we go. So here, we'll run it back a little bit more. So this
from
was
last game, by the way.
Yeah, this is from last game. This is just a super clutch play from Matthew that we're going to show off here.
So
basically, there's a life stealer inside of that ancient. Jaw uses his ult to lock it down. They're about to kill the life stealer. This puck is going to come flying in. Oh, hey, guys. Oh, grabbed him. Jaunts out to the orb and completely saves him, resets the fight, and they end up reinitiating. And then it is Luccini that takes the fight, and that's basically when.
And they lost every fight, it seemed
over.
like, or they were losing pretty much every fight, it seemed like, at every point in that game. They had, at one point, a 10,000 net worth advantage that had dwindled to, I think, almost like a 5k advantage in Animal Kingdom's favor. And then what happened after that is that they kind of got wiped. Immediately, Luccini went top, took another set of racks, well, almost took another set of racks. They forced out 2 buybacks. Then they got another kill on Jenkins, and they proceeded to end the game from there. So that clutch play, had that not happened, the Lifestealer probably dies, and then who knows how long the game goes on, and who knows if they're able to win. But I just thought that play was spectacular.
Yep.
In more ways than one.
It's one for the highlight reel for sure. And high hopes for the Matthew Ember Spirit, no doubt. I really like both these drafts, though, Mott. I think both of them have some great team fight potential. We'll see Gyrocopter for the first time, and there is a lot of control on this Luccini side. Like, that mid-game team fighting is going to be really scary, especially if this Slardar has an okay time and gets some momentum. He's going to be played by the sword. He's been a little hit or miss today. We've seen him shine, and we've also seen him have some dull moments on Doom.
Yeah, his first game was not pleasant to watch. I don't know if it really wasn't his fault. I mean, he kind of had a rough lane. And
though On the flip side, I really feel like this complexity lineup could just snowball and take over in 15 minutes. You know, you've got heroes that can totally dominate the lanes. Lich and Tusk, very strong in that regard. Swindle Darkseer doesn't really need any introduction. Chessie TA, another very comfortable pairing. And they will have a Limp on the Axe in the safe lane. And if he gets some nice safe farm, he could probably do pretty well. Now, another, you know, we were talking about the Abyssal Blade and that change. Axe is one of the heroes that could actually benefit from that, because he likes to go Vanguard more often than not, and then you just pick up a Basher, and all of a sudden you've got an Abyssal with all the benefits of, you know, the survivability item you invested in to begin with.
That's true. I didn't think of... Yeah, the whole Vanguard change seemed very strange to me.
It is. It really changes the dynamic of the item and the build-up.
Most people will probably just end up getting the Basher, and then what'll happen is it's just they'll treat the Abyssal like, you know, the Vanguard will be a lot like, you know, picking up the Relic. Like it was last time. So it's usually like it'll just be a stopping off point, and they won't actually necessarily use the Vanguard for those that still build Abyssal that are like, you know, melee agility carries or whoever. Yeah. But it does leave the door open. The problem with building the Vanguard first is that the recipe does cost 1550, and then you have to build another 2700 items. So you do have to invest, you know, 4K into finishing up into an Abyssal, but
what the hell is going on here? Come on,
There's
Luccini.
been lag all night, but this game in particular has been really bad. That's the entire team.
Oh, God.
Luccini's internet's about to die. I don't know what just happened.
All right, Gyro, let's do this. Well, that's kind of unfortunate. Okay, go.
Okay, go. Okay. Can we unpause now? Was it can we unpause now or can we resume?
I forget.
We're making a big deal out of that. And by the way, they were in every right. They were allowed to do that, by the way.
Oh, 100%. Hey, well, we're seeing a first, though, tonight. We've been talking about Windlace, and I think this is the first of the 5 games tonight where we see somebody buy it actually at level 1 out of the gate.
At the beginning. Yeah.
We've seen a couple of the like bounty hunters grab it pretty early on. We saw the Earth Spirit grab it when he was like level 2, but I think it's really well suited for Tusk. Like Windlace, Uve, yeah, that's scary. He's running at 320 with a 12% slow.
I'm waiting for the ultra greedy Windlace, Uve, Blightstone without any regen.
Oh God, dude, that
detection or vision.
That would be pretty fun.
You could do that in your pubs, but I don't think that's very effective in a pro game.
No, I think you need a support to pass you a salve if you're doing something like that.
And if you're not, especially if you buy that, then you're not. I think you can get away with that though. I think can you? Let's check. 300, 275. You might not be able to get away with that. I'm gonna have to do math now, and that's never a good sign.
It's too late to do math, man. Well,
Yeah,
hopefully Luccini can fix their connection issues. It would really be a shame for our final game of the night to end up coming down to a resume with somebody disconnected. But
I feel for get rescheduled.
Yeah, probably. I feel for complexity though, man. Like it's so late for half their players that it's, you know, it's hard to be patient and say, no, sure, take your time, 20, 30 minutes, no problem, boys.
Hanskin was, for those of you that don't know, Hanskin literally fell asleep at his chair between this game and the last game. And he almost was getting. They
almost had a stand-in. Yeah, they were so close that we literally loaded the game and then it failed to load close.
I've had some of those moments when I was casting, you know, Chinese or SCA Dota, where I'll just be like falling asleep in my chair, before the game starts. But then when the game starts, then you're feeling good usually.
Yeah, I think the hardest overnight cast I had was I was at BTS and it was the first star ladder that everybody went to when I was at the house. So everybody was gone, and it's just me solo casting Star Ladder that no one gives a just like some overnight Chinese tournament at the same time as Star Ladder that no one gives a shit about. And it's just like, oh my God, this is so painful. There's like 200 people watching. This is like C-tier Chinese content. Nobody's fighting, and you're just sitting there like, how do I make this interesting? How do I stay awake?
You make it interesting by having fun, by like just shooting the shit, that's what I do.
But when you're solo casting for like hours, like you can sort of do it for a while, but once you start running out of energy, I run out of jokes, man. I need somebody to bounce stuff off.
You don't need jokes. You just look at chat, react to whatever chat's saying. That's too delayed. If chat's just like there's like 10 people in chat and they're all saying some dumb thing, then I'm just like, okay.
It was Chinese content, so I probably could have done it without delay too. So it could have been fun. That's a good point, Mont.
Yes, you have to make up a game or something. I don't know, man. literally play a game while you're casting.
The overnight solo casting is brutal. That's what always used to do it for me.
I've been there. I think a lot of us have been there.
Oh, yeah. It's a rite of passage.
We are in the game. It is our last game of the evening, and Z-Freak has picked up the Windlace Oov first build with a couple of tangos, one set, in fact, and he's going to come in. They're probably going to look to put some pressure on Luccini's the sword here pretty early on, and you can see Z-Freaks coming in from the sides, and they already threw up the Berserker's Call, or rather the Battle Hunger, and they're going Toady. So they have Ice Shards as well. Good Slithering Crush, though, and he probably should be able to make it out here. They won't go for the Ice Shards just yet, but they're already asserting their dominance. Meanwhile, they kill the Radiant's Courier because Matthew somehow missed Microzit in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's more than unfortunate.
That's not what I expected to see, especially from this lane.
Well, at least he doesn't lose anything. You know, the bottle doesn't get sniped or anything like that. But
well, it did have a salve on it, which is not great, but...
Oh, I thought it got delivered. I thought it said 0 cargo. Okay.
No, it has a salve on it, sadly.
All right.
So that's real bad.
Yeah, that sucks. Never mind.
Well, they did change the respawn time, by the way, so it's, I think, 15 seconds shorter, I believe.
Yes. So minor buff to just general courier miss micro.
Inside is rotating top, so they've turned this sort of into a dual lane, but he's going to look for the 2-minute rune more than likely, with maybe Hanskin also looking for the top rune. Matthew continues to get frost blasted. He only has one tango that he can't use for another 50 seconds, so that's not great.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great example of why Lich is such a valuable pick right now. He can do this in pretty much any lane. You can just look at the matchups and say, okay, who needs a little bit of an edge, or who can we box out? You put Lich there, you deny creeps and steal their experience, and then you've got basically limitless mana to continue spamming and harassing, and it's hard to deal with. It's going to force this Earthshaker to stay in the mid lane, and at the best case scenario, you know, he's leeching experience from Matthew, slowing down his snowball, all that stuff. The sword is really struggling up top as well, Mod. He barely survives that dive. He's going to have to chew through his salve. He is out of regen here at the 2-minute mark.
Flameguard's going to go. They have Illusion Rune, though, and Matthew's in trouble. Frost Blast, there's a good Fissure to stop, but it's not on the right side. Chessie's going to try to chase this down, perhaps. Sideblade's not going. Needed 2 more right clicks, perhaps, to get that kill done. 2 more from Hanskin, anyway. And Chessie won't be able to find that kill. So, looking at the experience, though, Chessie was pretty much having Hanskin leech a lot of this experience, but he's still ahead in experience of Matthew by a wide margin. And a lot of that has to do with just, again, the power of the range creep having all of that experience now. It actually makes Lich somewhat viable again.
And this really hurts. Even though Matthew doesn't die there, he has to walk all the way back to the well, and now he's going to have to TP back
bottle.
in.
Yeah, and they do drop him a TP, by the way, so that also, you know, wastes money for the Winter Wyvern, who spends time. I mean, at least he's getting experience out of mid, you know, but they're not helping elsewhere. They're not helping the Slaughter top. They're not helping the Jar bottom. Not that it really needs help, although it is still pretty even between him and Swindle.
I mean, honestly, Mott, if you look at that CS chart already, this is a massacre. Complexity is 1,500 gold ahead. All of their core farmers are on par with the leader of the Radiant here. Gyro in some trouble. Is this going to be a kill? There it is. Z-Freak draws first blood. I mean, this Gyro is really struggling against the Darkseer, and every other lane is just going the way of Complexity.
Well, it was looking okay for a little bit there in the bottom lane, and then, you know, he started out CSing with Iron Shell, and then all of a sudden, Z-Freak smokes in. And that was a perfect smoke gank. I mean, he waited at the last second to use his Ice Shard just to make sure they secured that kill.
Yeah, good stuff.
And they don't really need... Limp doesn't need him top. You know, the Earthshaker can't really stop him, you know, even unless they get, like, a Slithering Crush done, and then almost a Berserker's Call there. He decided against it, but Limp will have to back up. He's got his Tranquils, by the way. But, yeah, it just feels like Luccini have no answers for the laning setup that Complexity have started. But, again, it is very early. It's 4 minutes into the game. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, though.
Well, I can take that both ways, Mott. We're only 4 minutes in, but it's a 2,500 net worth lead at only 4 minutes.
All right, well, you can start getting ahead of yourself if you want now.
All right,
that's fine. Once it hits it's like 2K at this time at 4 minutes, then yes, that's fair.
It's definitely scary. I mean, just all of these lanes are getting completely dominated. We spent a lot of time looking at mid, but up top, there's not much Slardar can do against Axe. Melee on melee, that's where he really shines. It's going to be a 3-on-2 in the bottom lane. Inside, can he get the block out? He does on 2, but there's going to be a way in the tree to get out. Ice Shards from Z-Freak will completely close the gap. That Swindle will live to the rocket. Okay,
man,
that
if
might be
I'm
more damage.
inside, I'd feel gypped that Fissure didn't block off.
Yeah,
I'd
really.
be mad. That's
it
upsetting.
looked so perfect, and there's that little cubby right here. Sneaky tree.
And they have to expend a lot of mana for that. They have to expend the rotations from inside as well as the Winter Wyvern.
Ember.
But they do make it safe for my story.
Chessie almost brings him down. He eats the fairy fire. He lives.
Wow. Hanskin gives him the salve as well. So Hanskin helping Chessie just get
Matthew
back
is
to
getting
farming.
massacred, though, Maud. He has 9 CS compared to the 31 of Chessie.
He has level 3, Chessie's level 5, almost 6. So he's 2 levels ahead and might almost be
He's
third.
2 levels ahead, and they've had a dual lane the entire game. I mean, it is Lich, but still,
They might have
that's
to.
insane.
They might have to adjust these ranged experience, these range creeps experience numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong with it. Snowball top lane. They're looking for the sword. The ice shards will come out as well. They're about to get a call. They don't quite get it in time as the Slithering Crush comes out, and again they barely miss out on a kill on the sword. So very close. They're not getting kills, but they are getting limped very far, and he's already picking up that Ring of Health. So it looks like it will be a Vanguard. And who knows, Andrew? You might be right about that whole Vanguard into Abyssal thing later on down the road. Maybe not just immediately, but later.
Yeah, I think it does. It gives you something to transition into, of course, outside of just the Crimson Guard. We're going to see inside in a lot of trouble. Swindle will just chase him down, and it's actually Handskin that gets credit for the kill with the right clicks. Limp getting very aggressive in the top lane. Meanwhile, every lane still just going the way of complexity, and they're just able to kind of run at him at this point.
Jesse's going to try to take a little bit of his Ancient Sack. Might not go for all of it just yet. We'll see. This is a big Ancient Sack, though. They are crushing every lane. And finally, Matthew's like, I got a double damage rune. There's no freaking TA in my lane. I get some last hits, thank God. Meanwhile, bottom, the Gyro's like, I'm getting farmed now that I've got help, but it's not really, there's not much of a great change. And now the sword is in a lot of trouble as the snowball will come through. Ice Shard should be next. He's already sprinted. He's going to try to juke. Good Mango usage, but his stun is not up. He just gets him with a Berserker's Call still. No culling, or rather counter helix procs going, and now he actually has to back away. They pop the amp damage up as well, and again, the sword narrowly escapes his third brush with death. But while this is all happening,
man.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
I think if he got 1 counter helix, he would have had him in Culling Blade range.
I absolutely agree with you. So it's just unfortunate. But he was the only one hitting the axe, so that was the problem. There were no creep waves around.
Yeah, that's true.
No other heroes, so it was just him.
Yeah, I guess it should say it the other way. If he did die there, that would have been unfortunate with just one person hitting axe. But yeah, the Ancient Stack goes the way of the TA. Handskin takes a lot of damage mid, but is he going to be able to turn this around? Snowball in. Oh, poor Matthew. He gets turned around upon.
Limp's getting got on by the sword. Gets a good bash. Already has the amp damage up, but here's the Battle Hunger being popped up. Gets the Berserker's Call again. Still only 1 hero there. No counter helix procs at all.
I don't know.
The sword's going to juke and avoid the Ice Shard block, but still looking to make it go. He's got enough mana for another Slithering Crush. He's going to use it. He's out now.
Oh, he gets
Satyr Tormentor
bash,
provides
too.
an assist. The Satyr Tormentor throws out a shockwave, a Hadouken, if you will, to help out.
I don't know what Z-Freak did to deserve that, but he got bashed right after the stun and the Hadouken on top of it. That's like as bad as it gets in that scenario, I think.
It's their first kill, by the way, on a support Tusk, but it's all, roses for complexity still, as they picked up an early Vanguard for the axe. The TA had just finished up her Ancient, and she is very close. Chessie's very close to his Blink Dagger if he wants. He's got to get hasted. Iron Shell, they, I think, saw it with Creep Wave, so they know something's happening. Swindle walks right into Creep Wave range. So he might just be cutting the Creep Wave and trying to push the tower quicker, which is fine, too.
Still a massive lead for complexity. About 5k gold, 5k experience. TA basically doubling the leading farmer here of our Radiant squad. Ember Spirit, almost level 6. That'll be a big milestone for Luccini. He'll at least be able to survive some of these ganks. He has only died once. He's done a good job not actually dying.
He is level 9. His Ember Spirit's level freaking 6.
Yeah.
3-level advantage.
Oh, Gyro rotating mid. Call down on 2.
Seems desperate, kind of.
Snowball
That
mitigates
seems-
a lot of the damage, and now the Chain Frost is going to start bouncing.
All right,
oh,
see you later,
God.
Gyro. Oh,
Dude.
man, Matthew just left him out to dry. 2 chops for Limp, gets that double kill. He already has 1,500 on top of just picking up that Vanguard. That seemed so desperate to me. They're like, we have to get something done. We're going to rotate our Gyro. We have some damage from Ember Spirit. We're definitely getting this kill. Just kidding, we're dead.
You know, sometimes you look at Lich bounces with the ult, you think, oh, good thing those creeps were there so they could absorb some of the bounces. That was the opposite. It was like, oh, man, thank God the creeps were there so that it could bounce across
look
more
at this.
heroes.
From the high ground, the snowball, they'll find Matthew. Good cold embrace, but the dunk's going to clean it all up.
Ugh. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Swindle just putting the pressure on. This level 4 Earthshaker playing Ring Around the Rosie, and he will survive for now. Swindle's a little bit low on mana, and he'll just TP back to the tier 1, no problem.
Yeah, he's fine. He even drops his Arcane as a Soul Ring. That's nice. It's a nice little efficient play. Chessie's Blink Dagger is now done, and I'm sure his Desolator will be next. And their net worth advantage is 10,000 at 10 minutes, so...
Yeah. I'm not surprised that Complexity is winning. They're like 90-10 favorites on most of the odds all over the net, but this is just a massacre. I mean, all of their lanes went close to ideal. Limp is looking at a 11-minute Blink Vanguard Tranquil Boots. That's pretty insane. If he had either one of those items at 11 minutes, you'd say, okay, Axe has had an okay game.
I would say that's fine.
Having both,
or maybe a little bit late for a Vanguard, but still probably fine.
But having both is just insane. Inside, just hanging in the true line here. I feel like this is a sad time for the Earthshaker. Not really much he can contribute. Oh, but Matthew gets blocked out by the ice shards. He will remnant away.
He has nothing. No farm. He has literally 300 more net worth than the Lich. Is how he's doing in terms of net worth.
Wow.
Dwindle is brazenly cutting the creep wave, but he actually might be in trouble. If Fish is going to come out, he doesn't have his mech, and that will be a big kill for them finally. They'll pick something up with good Fisher from inside. They just get caught with their pants down. A little too aggressive play. If they had all 5 heroes there, I would just be like, okay, you fight that, you win that fight, and probably the game at that point, but they did not have all 5 heroes. In fact, they only had 3 there, and they just had Swindle in a bad spot.
That was all 5, though, of Luccini, and they also lost that Tier 1 tower. Not denied, finished off by the creeps. So not ideal for Complexity, but they still come out all right. I mean, Limp is just free farming up in the top lane, and Z-Freak is holding the mid steady here.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Looks like a smoke rotation for Complexity here.
About a Robe of the Magi. I think. And they're going to smoke up, though, and they're going to... it's good TP from Gyrocops. The rest of them need to leave immediately, and they're about to find at least one.
There's the first dunk. Limp might be able to line it up. He's going to be low on mana, but Chain Frost comes through. Nowhere for the sword to go. Vacuum back, and Slardar will get put 6 feet under.
Nuts. I think they side-bladed him, and they used the Chain Frost on him. He was not moving very fast, even with Sprint on.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. Roche under assault now. Looks like it'll be a nice, easy one for Complexity. They've got the TA, so always prime territory for Roche. He also has the Blightstone, so plenty of minus armor there.
Yeah, it still is going to take a bit longer than it normally does. Usually with max level meld, this would be very quick with a armor reduction plus a Blightstone, but the changes obviously. And again, Luccini decided to just throw the scan right inside of the Roche pit,
And
as if to say, this is useless. Maybe they know something we don't. It showed up green on our screen, so that's all I can say.
No, I'm pretty sure you have it right. They explicitly said it does not work in the Roche pit, because that would be... I mean, it makes sense. That would be stupidly broken. Roche needs to have his own little vision area, but... yeah, they keep trying it.
I think they should have realized now that it doesn't work.
Yeah, right?
They just took Roche. Oh. And they just scanned it. Matthew, by the way, is in some trouble. He actually does run his away. The blink was a little bit too
you're right.
Short.
In the last few games, they did it on the pit, but it was just when there was no action, so it's impossible to tell. But this time, yeah, it should be pretty evident. Swindle could get dove here.
Yeah.
He's just going to run away. Meanwhile,
Matthew, by the way.
They do catch him. Yep.
This is a trade kind of you have to go for if you're Luccini, but if you can't even get this Tier 1 tower, you are in some serious trouble. And they probably won't get this tower, actually, all things considered, because I think they have Glyph still for the Dire side. They do.
And Luccini just is so slow, man. They really have no pushing prowess at all. Right clicks from gyros about all they got.
He hits like a white noodle right now.
Yeah.
He does not do nearly enough damage to be able to take us down with the speed and finesse that a TA does. Though either it's Complexity decided to go back and fight, which they won't because they don't have TPs on all of their heroes, or they'll continue to push, which is what they're going to do. And probably force back TPs in the process.
I think Limp is going to go Blade Mail. Oh, yeah, there it is, delivered on the courier. Another great item. We talked about it in the draft. One of the buffs that kind of indirectly really helped Axe. I think it's really good against Gyrocopter. BKB not going to save him from that damage return anymore. Limp goes in to try and catch Matthew. It will get dodged by the Slight. Call down actually doing a lot of damage, but now out comes the Chain Frost. It's bouncing around like mad. Gyrocopter will go down first. Z-Freak will fall victim of the Winner's Curse, and that will yield a kill on the Tusk. 1 for 1 so far, but now Complexity are pressing forward. Cold Embrace onto Matthew. Buys him some time. Ion Shell bringing him down low. Inside drops the dunk. It actually sets up a kill on Axe. A 2 for 2. Surprisingly good hold for the Radiant. They'll lose Hand Skin as well, and that makes it really a bloodbath here, Mott. 3 for 4. Complexity take the fight, but just barely.
Yeah, if they didn't have the Aegis, that would have been actually awful for Complexity. They played very aggressively there. and they probably don't even get this tier 2 tower yet. They're just gonna back. So they know they're ahead, but they're not that far ahead. Maybe with a Desolator, this gets a lot easier, but
I think so.
that was a little bit questionable, I think.
It's also a big play to the way he used the Sleight of Fist to completely dodge the Berserker's call from the axe.
Yeah,
I think if he had been caught like that, it would have just killed the Ember outright, and it would have been a much different fight.
Check the ping real quick. Some of these people should be on
Dire's bottom
100 some
tower
odd
is
ping
under
here.
attack.
Yeah, limp. He's
Yeah,
at 110.
euros. Yep.
So there is some ping disadvantage here. Not that, you know, Peru doesn't have their own ping disadvantages. They do. But they're a little bit better off than the Europeans, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Still a big deficit here for Luccini. 12k net worth, 12k experience is the favor of complexity. And the Deso is out on Chessie, like you were mentioning.
Yeah, I think if you just... I don't know if you... I think you wait for Greaves. No, he's not going Greaves. He's picked up a purse. Maybe just a Lotus Orb, I guess, which is fine. I was going to say you wait for Greaves, then you go, or you try to find a good call, but...
Oh, this is such a fragile time for Slardar. He's 100 gold away from his Blink Dagger. Really doesn't want to die right now.
Are you liking too, or is it just me?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Right, so I'm having some weird issues. By the way, the Lich picked up a big booster, which I thought was interesting. Probably an Atos. We'll see.
Yeah, this Gyro, he is #1 on net worth for his team, but he's just so far behind relative to complexity. He's trying to tank up. Looks like he's going to go for HOD, stack some Ancients. We'll see in the mid lane, Matthew get jumped on by Limp.
That was insane. Limp knew he was going to jump back because they were jumping on him in mid, but now actually they're jumping on Swindles down bottom instead.
Oh,
however, that is a lot of damage.
Oh, that back wall. It does cost Swindle his life, but it sets it up for Chessie. Are there friends nearby? Oh, daddy, are there. Luccini in big trouble. Winter's Curse does buy them some time. Fissure blocks out the retreat path, but I'm not sure if Complexity wanted to retreat. They want to continue the fight here. Matt, nowhere to go. Does what little damage he can with Searing Chains. Walrus Punch, and he will be able to walk away. Inside comes in, drops the dunk on Handskin. Fairy Fire actually keeps him alive. Now Limp rejoins the party. Fissure gets the kill on Lich, and it's another surprisingly good team fight for Luccini. Snowball in here onto the Earthshaker. He's picked up his Blink Dagger before he died, so at least he got a lot out of that.
These fights are way closer than they should be, but Limp has been, every time he knows the Remnant is coming, he has positioned himself in such a way that he's on top of that Remnant. So they're killing him, and then he just jumps on the Remnant and calls as soon as he Remnants in, and then he's dead anyways.
Yeah.
So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't because of his Remnant position. So he's done a great job of that. But a lot of these fights are just very close. Like, you know, Swindle dies so quickly. There's really good Winter's Curses. You know, everybody's really low. Complexity is very far ahead, but...
Yeah, based on the numbers, you'd think these fights would just be rollovers. TA could just kind of A-click the ground and walk towards them, but they're showing that they've got the crowd controls to actually stand their ground and take these team fights. Limp goes in under the tower, walks away. Swindle with a vacuum in, and a Remnant now for Matthew. They want to fight this. Swindle's going to be the one that gets caught. Call down flies through. He uses the mech, but it is going to be the end of him still. Can they turn this around? The sword completely isolated, locked in the ice shards. He'll get decapitated. Winter Wyvern gets left behind as well, sets up the kill onto Z-Freak. It's another good fight for Luccini.
Yeah, they're doing okay. They probably shouldn't be doing this well. Call missed, I think. Actually, yeah, missed that. And now they're doing some serious damage. The Fissure comes out. Chessie has to back away. Refraction's on cooldown for another 2 seconds. They've lost. He almost dies.
My God. Hanskin's going to die here too as well. It's a 1 for 4.
How much did they get out of this fight? Let's look.
I bet it's at least 5K. Okay, it's
close.
4.5, 4.6.
Yeah, that's that, and a lot of that gold goes to the Ember. It goes to the Gyro, even the Winter Wyvern, who could use it for sure.
The Slardar is the only one that didn't
He has Guardian Greaves if he wants it. This is suddenly... Well, Slardar has his Blink already, so he's fine. The Earthshaker has his Blink already, so he's fine. Yeah. They just need damage, and they're getting it. Now they have Matthew with bots picked up. He's got Drum. This game is not as far away as it was once, I think.
It felt like it could have just been over at 25 minutes, and Luccini are definitely showing us that they can hold their own.
I think a lot of it has to do with some misplays from Complexity, getting a little bit over anxious, especially Swindles. He should not be the one of the front lines, that he's the one getting caught most often. But those are some things that'll change maybe with Lotus Orb, or just he'll probably be in a better position from now on. A Blink might have been a better option, but he'll probably get that later.
Yeah. I think this Winter Wyvern's also played a huge role. Every fight, it feels like Winter's Curse is securing a kill on someone. He's making sure not to use it on TA, so that Desolator just returns huge damage, showing us the power of that hero.
Well, this is turning out to be another interesting game. It might be like last game, where Luccini pull it back and then just somehow give it away. But we'll see if that's the case.
The Luccini style. Z-Freak initiated on by Matthew here. He will get into the snowball, though. They drag him deep forward. Oh, boy. Yeah, I think Z-Freak's definitely done for.
I thought Z-Freak could have blinked out of that, but the Rocket Barrage was perfectly timed. By the way, the Gyrocopter's picked up Assange. The Yasha will come shortly thereafter. They're going to find Hanski with the Echo Slam. The Fisher comes up the Enchant Totem. See you later. Limp calls everybody. He called everybody. Get the wall down. He's going to call him onto 2. They stop it with the Winner's Curse, but Swindle's still chasing. Limp finally with the first big giant dunk calls of the game, but is it enough? Can they find more?
Wow.
Whew.
So much damage returned there. Had the Blade Mail on, the double or the counter Helix just flying around like crazy. Very impressive from the Axe. He did 3,300 damage in that fight, but unfortunately not enough to find a full cleanup as he was hoping for. There was a moment there where I thought, oh my god, is he just going to cut off all their heads? But
is under attack.
It's recoverable.
That Winner's Curse probably saved most of them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because Chessie he jumped in and he got caught by it. If he didn't get caught by it, he probably throws down a side trap or 2 and seems to just mutilate at least 2 more heroes. So that could have been a lot worse. Still, though, they did take down the Gyrocopter, which is a pretty important hero. Here we go.
The Soylent instant replay. Oh, so beautiful, Limp. Gets the first dunk, gets the second dunk. You're right, actually. If that Winner's Curse didn't come out, that would have been a completely different story. They would have been in huge trouble. They've done a really good job just disengaging these fights. Kiting complexity around.
I think so. And that's really the only reason why they're still in this game, is because they've had pretty good positioning. You know, all things considered. This game should have probably been over for a while now, but it's not been... It's been a couple of misplays from complexity, but I don't want to do a disservice to Luccini. I think they've done a very good job.
Well... The problem here, though, is that they haven't really been able to regain that much momentum. They've stalled complexity, but it's still a 10k net worth and experience deficit. coL is still very much in control of this game, and they still have a big item advantage. There's a fresh BKB on the way out for the Axe. Chessie now moves into the Roche Pit. He's got his Manta style up. There's a Lotus Orb on Swindle. They're pretty well equipped to take these fights now. And even though there is some item progression on Luccini, it still isn't quite up to snuff. Ember Spirit has his BOTs, still a little ways off that Battle Fury. And they do have a couple of Blink Daggers, but if they get initiated on, they only do so much.
I gotta say, if you're Luccini, you kind of just have to hope you can take every fight like you've taken them before. A lot of these fights have just been well played in terms of positioning.
Yeah.
But you can't keep that up forever, I just feel like. There's not a way for them to be able to hit these Winner's Curses, to hit these Echo Slams that they're hitting, that keep them alive in these fights, to hit these Slithering Crushes, Especially, like, BKBs at some point will come out. They already have one for Axe. You're going to get one for TA, assumedly next, I would imagine. I guess you could go more damage if you want, but once that happens, then there's nothing to stop them from running over you. Especially the Axe with the BKB is very important. Sidetrap will scout out the fact that the Gyrocopter was finishing off the Ancients. However, he does get it done. There was an Observer Ward which scouted complexity on, looking for an initiation, but they'll run down mid now, and we'll see if they decide to try to finish this game off or maybe wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, Gyro probably looking to finish up his S and Y and then probably move into BKB, but honestly, it's not really the best BKB game. Axe does so much against it. TA cuts right through it as well. I'm kind of curious how he's going to choose to itemize here.
I think you still need to get it just because of Darkseer and maybe even Lich too, and not to mention Tusk, I guess. I know that the Axe can call, but other than that, there's not really a way they can lock him down. If the Axe misses his call, then he's fine. So I think you still have to keep BKB. And he might even go into it next even after the Sonic. I doubt it, but Tessie mixes away from that homing missile, but they hit the Fisher. They're going to hit the Winner's Curse, and Lip's in trouble. He'll take some hits, but he's very tanky. Here comes the Snowball. They pick everybody up, and they're going to turn it. There's the Loris Punch, and now they're going to try to go to work. BKB is popped. Vacuum Wall onto 3. Great Chain Frost. Here comes the counter helixes, and everybody's freaking dead on the dirt. Triple kill for Hanskin. That's what they wanted the entire game. They finally found it. They buy back immediately on the gyrocopter entry, and here they go, right to work on the tier 3.
That was so beautiful. That's what Complexity's been waiting for all game. Another beautiful sleight of fist will dodge the Berserker's call from Axe, but this is looking like a tough hold for the Radiant side. It's a 5v4. They've already used one of their buybacks, and they don't have too many left. There's the Aegis of the Immortal on TA. That's a start. Matthew still doesn't have the Battle Fury. Oh, this would be such an easier hold if he did. The sword gets way too far out of the base. A lot of damage. Searing Chains actually finishes off the Lich. That is a recovery kill. Their tier 3 is still standing. It doesn't look like Complexity are easily going to be able to break the high ground yet.
They're holding.
But they're not done.
They have buyback on the Slaughter. The gyrocopter is up and alive. He's got call down. He's going to use it. I think they back now. Yeah, they back. This is the proper play. I think you end. Oh, if Swindle dies, oh, that'd be huge for them. And it looks like he might just actually fall. They might want to.
No, they don't want to get pulled out of the base, and I think it's smart. They know that if they get wiped up here, they're definitely losing barracks. Swindle just kiting them around. There's the Vac. No wall, but Limp catches one. There's the snowball to reset. They're going to go in onto Gyro. Now they're going to turn onto Matthew as well. They can't pick a target. Echo Slam hits on 2. Chessie and Limp getting low. Limp actually uses the BKB. They get a kill onto the Winter Wyvern. Chessie's in pretty deep, and he will still survive for now. The sword can't quite find him. They hit with a stun. And the Fire Remnant actually gets him. There's the Wicked 6 streak. 1,000 gold going the way of the Ember.
It's the Earthshaker's Fishers again. They've just been on point, and they're looking for one. He almost finds another one. Swindles was able to surge away. By the way, he was the one that was getting focused down. They end up losing him. They lose Chessie instead. I think the Axe survived all of that somehow. I'm not sure quite how he did, but he
BKB Berserker's call. You're basically immune to physical and magical at that point.
Yeah, but he was on a sliver of health, and I thought they were going to chase him down. Inside is going to find Limp. And Swindles will be able to make it out as well. At this point, without Chessie, probably not a great idea to fight. They're barely holding on, Andrew. Yeah. They are barely holding on with that buyback, especially from the gyrocopter.
But they are holding on nonetheless, and Complexity showing us what their Wombo combo is really all about this game. I mean, that was just so beautiful. And what's scary is they have a couple ways to set that up. The dream is have the Dark Seer suck everybody together. Axe jumps in, connects with the Berserker's call while he has the Blade Mail on. And then the Chain Frost to follow up. And I'm trying to find the replay here as I stutter through just so we can relive the moment, because it was pretty magical.
It's impressive how you can get that type of team fight, and they can still hang on, I think is a testament to how they're playing this game.
It's a very solid team. And there's the Vac wall combo, and the Chain Frost just completely obliterates them. The power of the Lich, baby.
Yeah, that was a nice play. And it's not like there's any BKBs to prevent that from happening. And Complexity will smoke and try to find another one of those initiations. And is there a scan up for Luccini? Because that might actually save them. There is. A scan here would be monumental.
Yeah, smoke rotation from Complexity in the mid lane, trying to find the right way to initiate here.
Both teams have a
wow. They catch the Gyro. There's the BKB from Limp as well, so Slardar can't even save him. No buyback on the Gyrocopter.
Yeah. And that's kind of how you expected the game to, well, not necessarily end, but that's where you had to think the game was going to go next.
Yeah.
You know, if you pick off the Gyrocopter who just bought back, you're in a position where you can push. The problem is Swindle's had to take care of top, and he doesn't have bots, so he can't really get to his team. He just TP'd back, so they're not really thinking about pushing. They're probably thinking more about just warding up, getting vision down.
They may just kind of linger around and look for another pickoff. The vision, I'm glad you brought it up because they've got a lot of it right outside of the base. So if someone just pokes a little too far forward, they might be able to find another catch. Luccini trying to get sneaky here and creep around this tier 2 tower in the top. They might actually find an angle to initiate.
I'm looking for something.
Who's going to catch who, though? Complexity or Hungry?
I think they know where that remnant was placed. They pinged it out, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And one, again, probably wants to try to cut that path of retreat off. But
yeah,
continues to push top.
Chessie just going to kind of slow siege this tower. That's the end of the tier 3. Radiant do not have a glyph, so they didn't really have an easy way to save it. Gyro up in about 5, and will that be Complexity's sign to just retreat and recollect? It looks like it.
They're going to play this. They're going to play this out the way they should. They're going to back up, probably wait for the next roach, which will be a while. I don't expect them to get too aggressive. And plus, there's another tier 2 tower for them to still take. And again, Matthew's done a great job making sure the top lane has been pushed out. He was up there while they were pushing mid. Sure, they lose the tier 3 tower, but this game could be so much worse, at least in terms of buildings.
This Luccini squad is super resilient, Maud. You look at this graph, and there is not a point in this game when they remotely had control. And every team fight looks so even. I mean, they are really making Complexity work for this. It's a team that you might not recognize, but they definitely have some skills here. Matthew getting pretty far out of the base, almost gets caught by the axe. It's a close one.
I like
but
this Matthew
now inside, Force Staff Blink available. He will make it back. Team fight ready to erupt here.
They're gonna fight this. Z-Freak's gonna get jumped on. Echo, coL coming out. Vacuum again! A huge one. The Chain Frost bouncing through, but it's not doing enough. It finally does take down 2. It takes down 3. Just kidding. Just is able to clean up after all that. Now my story is about to fall yet again. The Coaling Blade they're waiting for it. They don't even need it. Dwindle shows up at the perfect time. Captain.
No buybacks. That feels like kind of a GG moment there. And on top of that, really to add insult to injury, Z-Freak survives through it. He was the one that they dumped all that damage into, and he got into the snowball, and they didn't even finish him off. The rest of the team cleaned him up, and again, the Chain Frost doing a significant amount of the damage.
This is going to be probably 2 sets of racks. No, well, they do have Glyph at the very least, but
yeah.
There it goes. Might only be 1, actually. We'll see.
Yeah, at most 2. There is still this tier 2 tower in the top lane.
Yeah.
But I think they'll at least be able to get this tier 3 in the bottom. They have the Desolator. They can chip at it.
I think the biggest thing is that they still don't have... The Ember Spear would be able to just blow up the creep wave and do enough damage over time with his Sleight of Fist. But they're going to try to defend here with a Fisher.
Yeah.
I think you maybe just back the Complexity. Looks like that's what they're going to do. Yeah, you're right. Just get the tier 3 and back.
Put the illusions on the range barracks. Do a little chip damage you can. And rinse and repeat. And all this time, they're sort of just buying space for Roche, which is coming up very soon. Of course, they don't know how fast it's going to be, but they will get kind of lucky here. They've got the TI trap in the pit, so they should see it pretty much as soon as it comes up. And
Luccini, I swear to God, if you scan Roche again, I'm going to lose it.
Yeah, I mean, the Complexity are going to see if they move out of the base, though. They've got 3 wards down in key locations all over the Radiant jungle, and... you know, they're going to know if they try to move towards the Roche pit, and they might even be able to just catch them that way.
There's no vision coming out for Luccini with the exception of right around their base. So
yeah, they've got the 2 plateaus and then the low ground. Oof. They're doing anything they can for vision, but it's brutal.
They do have this one in the enemy jungle, but it's not like that's where Complexity are holding up for the most of the time. Complexity are making their home in their own jungle, and Luccini has a little bit of vision there. But
yeah. Actually,
Luccini's done a pretty good job. There we go. Chessie is now in the pit and going toe-to-toe with Roshan. This will be Aegis and Cheese for somebody.
Yep, and it looks like Chessie's got a Crystallis on the courier. Limp's got an Assault Karas coming. They've got another Lotus Orb. They already had one on the Darkseer. Now Tusk is going to join the Lotus party. My gosh. Complexity's just tricked out, Mott. They've got everything they could ever want, and Luccini is going to go kick the router again.
Yeah, that's fine. God, I can't even imagine the sword. Every time like a Lotus Orb comes out, he like amp damages it. He's just like, oh god, if I get jumped on, I'm dead. Dear Lord. Please help me. Don't let Swindles hit me. I die in 1 hit if he gets on top of me. Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. What else is the Lotus Orb good for here? I feel like, is that it?
Winter's Curse?
I guess. Yeah. Is that it?
Winter's Curse is the big one, I think.
Nothing else is targetable.
Yeah. Winter's Curse and amp damage, baby. I guess Rocket technically, right?
Yeah, but he's been Manta dodging it every time. Or at least Chessie's been
well, I mean,
Manta
that's a silly thing to try and, like...
I'm going to make sure you get...
Yeah, I'm going to use my Lotus Orb to reflect the gyro rocket. Like, it's such a weird thing to try to time. Usually it comes out of vision and stuff, too.
I think Swindle could have gotten away with not going Lotus, going Guardian Creeps and Blink. And this game would probably be a bit better. But I don't know. What do I know? I guess if they're really that concerned about Winter's Curse, which I would be, especially after how these games
I mean, dude, honestly, that has been like the spell that has kept Luccini in this game this long. Like, he used it in like 3 team fights in a row where it secured a kill and kept people alive with Cold Embrace. Like, that hero has really done a lot this game. Now Daedalus and Assault Karas are out. They've got Aegis and Cheese, a 9-second BKB on the TA. Complexity should just be one decently coordinated team fight away from victory at this point.
Yeah, well, we say that, but
they should be. That, you know, it's still a staggering lead. 30K net worth at 33 minutes. I mean, that is massive.
You get 30K net worth lead, and you've only got 1 set of racks. That's just like insane. You're completely out farming the other team in every other aspect, including kills. But you just can't find a way to kill the base somehow. boggles the mind. But Luccini, like you said, resilient is the exact term I would use. As Swindle and Matthew are going toe-to-toe top. Matthew actually, unbeknownst to Swindle, has a backup team. He'll back up instead, as the rest of his teams push it and bottom.
Oh, up top, Swindle and Matthew going blow for blow. Tries to vacuum him in. The rest of Complexity are just grouped up in the bottom lane, though. Remember, this tier 3 tower spawned, and there's still no glyph for Luccini.
All right, Swindle, time for you to surge down bottom and get to your team. They Lotus Storm the home missile. There it goes.
Oh, yeah, there you go. BKB by Chessie. They're just going to go for the barracks here. They know there's no glyph, so... With the AC, man, he kills it fast. That's 2 lanes of barracks up. Limp goes back in. Berserker's call on 2. Matthew getting low. Chain Frost going to chase him back to the well. That's unfortunate for the Lich. Now some return damage coming onto Limp. He still has the BKB. Don't forget he has the Aegis as well. Handskin will fall. And now Limp pops the BKB. Wall on 3 right into Limp. That's the combo that Complexity was waiting for. Buyback from the Slardar, but... It's a massacre once again in the Radiant base here, Mark.
Holy shit, they had Chessie with all that damage on them. Oh, what did that go slam? Zefric, they're gonna die. They're all gonna go down. Limp's gonna be first. Chessie is cleaning up. He's gonna get a rampage, though. He'll survive just based on refraction charges and inside. Oh, he gets crit on the way back to the well. You've got to be joking. What a massacre.
All right, Complexity on the way out. Oh, he gets clipped by the fissure. He actually ends up dying. What a ridiculous sequence of fights. So how many buybacks are used there? 1, 2, 3 for Luccini. They don't hold the barracks. The TA gets a rampage, but they do get the shutdown gold.
How much gold does the TA have? 3,600, and he just bought the Daedalus. So there's that.
Yeah, no, they're feeling pretty good here. Let's take a look at the highlight reel. I imagine that's one worth reliving. My God.
Oh, I don't know how they coordinated that vac wall. That was nuts. That just seemed weird to watch for it to actually happen that way.
Yeah.
He blinked on top of where the vacuum was going, I think is what happened.
Wow.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, Swindle just jumps in. It's a pretty tight vacuum. Like, he has a bunch of people right on the edge, and he grabs them, just sucks them right in. The Echo Slam, though, is just on point. Slitherine Crush just set it up. There's all those creeps nearby. Again, resilient is the word, man. Luccini lose their barracks, but they put up one hell of a fight before they feed Chessie a rampage.
At this point, they've succeeded in a Pyrrhic victory, as Hanskid's probably going to... Well, maybe not. They're going to get Matthew with the call, and now here comes the counter helixes, which are destroying Matthew. And Limp will grab the kill for himself without even needing... Well, actually using the Cullen Blade.
That's a dieback. That hurts.
Yeah,
he's out of the game for over a minute and a half here. And inside isn't out of the clear yet either. Battle Hunger.
No Fisher. He's got Enchant. That's nice. Blinks on cooldown still for 5. Good Ice Shards. Forces away. Might still live. They probably just want to take this tier 2 tower. No reason to dive anything too hefty at this point. Get another pause from the sword casually.
I am sensing some rage brewing on the Dire side at this point.
If I'm Complexity, it's like 6 in the morning. I've played Dota for
I would be
night.
too. You're this far ahead, it's like, come on, man. Can we please just finish this game?
Yeah, you can see Swindle says Ember has no buyback. They're like Animal Kingdom before them. They are not happy. They're chasing though, and they're gonna find Shidduck, and he's gonna be caught into a bad position. The Glimmer Cape's keeping him alive now, but not for long. Good Winter's Curse, but it will not do any damage. Back wall back in, not really used specifically well, but here comes the Chain Frost, and Chessie jumps in with a BKB to finish off the sword, and they'll actually take down My Story as well with the Calling Blade. And they decided to call it after Complexity maybe making a bit of noise in the base. And that was Luccini. They'll head to the lower bracket, and Complexity will move up to the upper bracket. Probably not what they wanted. That Echo Slam probably looked awesome also, by the way.
Yep.
But I have to say, I think you and I have both been impressed by Luccini, and specifically Matthew, throughout these games today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that I really didn't know much about coming into this tournament, or really anything at all. And seeing them so far today, they had some pretty clutch plays at a few moments, some fun jukes around the trees, and they made these games look damn close. I can't emphasize enough like how far ahead Complexity was compared to how well Luccini fought them off is really impressive. Most teams would have just fallen over in 20-25 minutes based on the lead Complexity got. So a team to keep an eye out for as we move on to the bracket. But that is Group A, man. Complexity as well as what the hell's their name, Mott?
Evernova.
Evernova. That's I always want to say Evernote. I don't know what it is. Evernova.
You're gonna get really confused because there's two Evernova teams. There's Evernova and Evernova S. Evernova S has you on it, and Fluff and some really good players.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. So that's it, Mott. That's day one of Canada Cup Season 7 coverage. The schedule's a little funky for this season because the qualifiers for the major are coming up. There's going to be no more games until May 9th. So we started today, and there's going to be a long break, and then things kind of get going full steam.
Yeah.
So
you're going to see most of these teams in Canada Cup playing in the qualifiers. So we'll have a good look at them through the qualifiers, and hopefully they stay together throughout the rest of Canada Cup, which they probably will. And yeah, I'm excited because the open qualifiers are going to start. You know, there are some teams that are in this particular tournament that are not in the main qualifiers for the Manila Major. You know, if you look at the main qualifiers for the American region real quick, you have DC, Shazam, Team Freedom, Enemy, Animal Kingdom, Infamous, Not Today, and Evernova S. So Evernova is not in, nor is Luccini, and probably a couple of others that I'm forgetting, but still. There's a lot to look forward to here in the coming days. I think you and I are both excited about Dota for the next couple of days.
Yeah, no doubt, man. The hub is going to be awesome, and I'm sure many of y'all will join us over on the BTS channels for that. So that's it, guys. We're done. I'm Zyori. He's Mod. If you enjoyed the cast, give us a follow on Twitter at ZyoriTV, at ModDota in the title of this broadcast, and, of course, our stats lady at Lurkaderp as well. That's it, y'all. We'll see you next time. Also follow at Canada or Dota 2 CA. The Canada Cup
Canada.
Dota.
Dota 2 Canada. At Dota 2 Canada.
Dota 2 Canada. Mod knows it. See you guys.